He was there one night. I drove home, and right before I turned into my driveway, there he was, running across the road and into the woods.
A few years ago, while attending my family's Christmas party, my mom and I were sitting together, just casually talking, when my aunt came up to us excited to show us what her son-in-law found on his game camera. Now, most of my family are hunters, being raised in the South, so naturally I'm thinking it would be a picture of a deer. We were quickly taken by surprise that it wasn't any type of animal we had seen before. In the grainy, distorted black and white picture, we saw what looked like a man crouched in foliage, reaching for the camera, almost beckoning you. But instead of having a man's head, it was replaced with a goat's head. Now, I am one who loves anything creepy and weird, but even this gave me pause for a split second. But another thing my family is pranksters. My aunt fessed up to that the picture had been the result of a picture that was floating around the internet and causing what we would call today going viral. So me, I decided to investigate and look into the story behind the picture that made me go, that's interesting. So this is how I came to find out about the Goatman. My name is Tiffany Taylor, and this is another episode of Shadows in History. On October 27, 1971, in Bowie, Maryland, a local newspaper by the name of Prince George's County News wrote a story that sent shockwaves into the local community. It started with the Edwards family and how their puppy by the name of Ginger had gone missing. The dog was later found on Fletchertown Road, on the train tracks, decapitated. Now, the local reporter talked to the Edwards family and their 16-year-old daughter, April, who was having a sleepover the night the dog went missing. April claimed that she and her friends heard strange noises that night and saw a large creature walking away from the house. It was also reported that sightings of the animal-like creature that walked on its hind legs were increasing on Fletchertown Road. During the 70s, a thing known as Goatman hunting became a thing for risk-taking teenagers to do to see who is the bravest, as well as try to catch the Goatman. Now, the creature is described as half man, half goat, and he carries a bloody axe. It's said that he kills teens, eats dogs, and makes shrills like a goat. One professor stated that
he was a large humanoid creature with furry goat-like legs and alabaster skin, wide-set eyes, and horns that protruded from its greasy fur.
The legend of the Goatman in Maryland is unknown, and there are some interesting theories. One of which is that a sort of mad scientist who worked at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center was experimenting with goats one day, and the experiment backfired, thus the Goatman was created and escaped to stalk the forest of the community. This theory actually became so popular that the USDA had to go public to deny the allegations. Now, while this sounds like something straight out of a Mary Shelley novel, there was a Soviet scientist in the 40s and 50s named Vladimir Dimnikov, who was experimenting with putting two species together. His most notable experiment was that of the two-headed dog. He conducted this by taking the upper legs and head of one species of dog and connecting it to the shoulders of another dog. Another theory is that the Goatman was actually a recluse goat herder who went mad after a bunch of local teens killed his goats. Hence his hatred for teenagers. He makes himself known mostly at lovers' lanes when things get a little too hot and heavy between young couples. It is said he will jump onto cars and slash the tires so they are stranded. Then he drags them screaming into the forest to make them disappear forever. Kind of a mood killer, right? While the Bowie Goatman is more of a cautionary tale to keep young lovers away from lovers' lanes, there is another version of the Goatman found in Texas that is even more sinister. The location is at the Old Alton Bridge, or more rightfully named Goatman's Bridge. The bridge connects Denton to Copper Canyon. The Goatman is said to stalk the forest surrounding the bridge. There are also two different origin stories for this Goatman as well, one of which is that of Oscar Washburn. Washburn was a local African-American farmer who owned a homestead that was near the bridge. Washburn was known for having quality meat, milk, cheeses, and hides. When the popular businessman hung a sign on the bridge that stated, "This way to the Goatman," it infuriated the local Ku Klux Klan, and they plotted violence. On a dark night in 1930, the Klansmen stormed Washburn's homestead and dragged him screaming to a noose waiting on the bridge. They wrapped the noose around Washburn's neck, then flung him over the side. But when the Klansmen stumbled down the riverbank, they only found an empty noose swaying in the air and the waters undisturbed. The panicked Klansmen frantically searched the area unsuccessfully before rushing to Washburn's homestead, where they set fire to his home with his family inside, perhaps to bait a desperate rescue attempt. But Washburn never showed and was never seen again. But since then, a vengeful spirit has haunted the Old Alton Bridge. There is also another version that predates the bridge itself. In an account that may go back as far as the 1860s, Texas Troubles, some Copper Canyon cowboys, lynched a Creole slave goat herder named Jack Kendall from a tall creekside tree near where the bridge now stands. But ineptitude separated the runaway slave's head from his body. The slavers then watched in horror as the headless body raised itself from the creek bed mud, animated by voodoo, and ripped off the head of a nearby goat to replace his own, still dangling in the noose. Now, while these stories are immensely tragic, there have been no records of Washburn or Kendall ever existing, but that's not to say it didn't happen. Now, the local legend says that if you pull up to the bridge and turn off your headlights and either honk 3 times or knock 3 times, the Goatman will appear. But he only carries away those with the bloodline of the Klansmen or the slave traders to face their judgment. Satanic rituals, seances, and other strange phenomena are rumored to have occurred in the location since then, making Goatman's Bridge a hot spot for those who are interested in the paranormal. The television series Ghost Adventures, presented by the Travel Channel, featured an episode about Goatman's Bridge. 4 ghost hunters investigated the satanic and supernatural phenomena around the bridge. The episode can still be viewed today on YouTube. Whether the Goatman is a science experiment gone wrong, or a vengeful spirit dragging his killers to hell, the legend continues to grow every day with popularity. Goatman hunting has become something of a hobby these days. So if you are brave enough, you can go in search of the local legend yourself. But be careful, you might become the hunted instead of the hunter. My name is Tiffany Taylor, and that is all for today's episode of Shadows in History. Please be sure to subscribe for all new episode updates